looks like it's loading correctly, I think.
Sweet.
Done.
Welcome to HighLevel.
Okay.
We're live on
Restream.
Facebook. I
We're
can
live?
see that.
All right, awesome. We
Yeah.
did it. Hey everyone, thanks for joining for this month's product webinar. We're going to be talking about courses, communities, and how you can leverage them to grow your business. We are just hanging out for a couple of minutes to give everybody a chance to get into the Zoom room. If you're seeing this, please say hello in the comments and let us know from where you're joining. It's always nice to see folks joining from around the world these days, which is always awesome. I see some folks from Utah, Georgia, Texas. Hey, Kathy, that's a familiar name. Cool. So let's hang out for just another minute. I'd also love to know if you could throw into a comment, are you currently using courses and or communities to grow your business or your clients' businesses? Courses and communities are fairly newer features in HighLevel, but they have been ramping up really quickly. So it's always great to see who's using them so far, what the feedback is. Kathy she's loving both. Awesome. Jonathan's using communities for his SaaS users. Awesome. Okay, Ryan's new, hasn't started yet. Great. Well, then today's webinar should be great, Ryan. I'm sure we're going to pick up a ton of tips and tricks from Haplin. Cool. So the number one question we always get asked is, will this be recorded? Of course it will. It'll be on our YouTube channel as soon as we wrap up. And then the team will also send it out to everybody who registered for the webinar via an email, probably tomorrow-ish. So I'm going to swing it over to Haplin. Ready to take it away?
I am down.
All right.
Into it.
Awesome.
Should I share my screen and take off?
Yep, go for it. I'm going to kill my video.
Sweet. All right, just making sure y'all can see my screen. If you're in the chat, can you just put a 1 in the chat if you can see my screen? You see my lovely face, and okay, cool. Couple ones in the chat. Like Chase said, my name is Haplin, and I'm super excited to share with you guys courses and communities, a quick overview. The way I typically do things is I like to be able to interact with you guys and have you guys kind of lead stuff as well. So I'm going to get through this presentation, but as we're going, feel free to put questions into the chat because I'd love to go a little more deeply on things you guys particularly care about or particular points that you want more information about. But yeah, this dealio is how to grow your business with courses and communities in HighLevel. Like Chase said, relatively new feature, but what we typically do at HighLevel is we start with kind of where we want to be. What's the result that we're really trying to get, and then we work backwards from like what do we need to do in order to get to that end result. And so starting here, the main thing that we really built this around is kind of the digital coach and consultant playbook, which I just want to share with you. Many of you will probably be familiar with this. You may have been experienced this on the customer side, or maybe this is the way that you're growing your agency on the front end yourself. But this is a kind of tried and true. It's a very good strategy for building an audience right now that in my old gig working with a prominent affiliate marketer, we ran this exact playbook and I was on his tech team. So everything that I'm sharing with you here is based on what I've seen in the community and also my personal experience of what I've done. So the way that this typically goes is a lead comes from some sort of source, whether it's organic or paid, but they get into a landing page with a VSL that sells them on free course and free group stuff. So typical digital consultant will be trying to grow their audience this way. And that way they have kind of a free course that's like a lead magnet, and they build their marketing kind of around that and try to convert sales from these people who are being added into their free course. So on the lead side, it's really valuable. There's nothing to say no to. It's an easy yes, get access to a free course, kind of similar to like a free ebook or a free PDF or a free this or that, except now it's a full free course. And now many coaches and consultants create a free group as well and kind of have it all together. This is a really good idea because your course content gets complemented by community engagement, and you start to really create a connection with your audience and have some interactive elements to your audience building that then your setters or yourself or whoever do run promotions in there and try to convert sales into high ticket consulting or whatever else it is that you're really selling. So you promote the community out to the world and you really promote sales inside the community. So most of the sales come from people who have already had it as some significant interaction with you. It's kind of a great way to ramp up the trust building process. And it's just the whole sales cycle makes a lot of sense. And then out there in the world, when you're doing your content, your promotions, your organic posts, your ads, you're really just inviting people to take advantage of getting into the flow of getting stuff for free. So that's kind of the idea with the outcome that we're trying to end with. And like I said before, this is something that works really well. This is a good idea. So I have a slide. All of this is a good idea, but how do you actually execute? And this is where we really get to examine some of the details of what this process looks like on the back end. So in order to do that, we're going to compare the old way to the new way. And speaking from experience, I have done both ways, and I recommend the new way. So spoiler alert. But just to go over the old way really quick, the way that people did this for years and years and years was a ClickFunnels landing page, headed over to Zapier. You have to integrate with Zapier to then add somebody into a Kajabi and then into the Facebook group. So the end product is kind of Kajabi plus Facebook groups, which you got people into however you did. And there's a couple problems with this, or actually there's nothing truly wrong with this, but there's a couple of opportunities for improvement. Let's just say the first is just straight up costs. We know the costs of some of these tools can get a little bit out of hand. And so you don't want to necessarily be adding so much to your tech stack just because just to get a free group off the ground, just to get a free course off the ground, right? These are like the lowest plan levels for these different softwares. But then something that I didn't put in here is also just there's a really underhyped, undervalued factor of having to navigate multiple channels of support too, if anything breaks. And you're going to one center for support, and depending on how good that support is, that's a factor in and of itself. But then when you have integrations and multiple different tools speaking to one another, that can be a big, big hassle when something breaks, but then one support center passes you off or blames it on the other software and you're going back and forth. That was something that I dealt with. It was like my full-time job. Basically, the reason I was hired was just to try to manage this. So not only does it cost a lot and can be a headache, but yeah, just the maintenance of it, of this type of system, just for like a front end kind of lead magnet sales strategy is just a lot. And so, of course, after all of that, you still needed something like HighLevel or some kind of marketing automation to actually run the rest of your business, have a sales calendar, whether you're doing Acuity, Pipedrive, Scipio, Active Campaign, whatever else you're doing, like you still need all of those things as well. And so if you're smart, you'd be using HighLevel. Even back in the day before it was doing courses and communities, you'd still need HighLevel. But now the new way is that, of course, we're going to be able to do all of this within HighLevel. So I just have a couple features to show off within communities. We have a full discussion area, member posting, so we get all the benefits of that Facebook group element. But we have kind of an additional benefit, which is that you're not going to be kind of at the beck and call of Facebook as their policies change or whatever. At the end of the day, Facebook is ultimately in control of all that data, all that audience, whatever. When people join your community in HighLevel, now their contact info is also in your contact list, right? So it's a great way to really own the data and be able to kind of control the environment a lot more. Learning. So up there in the top, at the top of the screen, you see discussion, learning, and people. Everything we're seeing here is just the discussion area with member posting, but then in the learning tab, that's where courses are integrated. So that's really kind of one of the main value propositions here is that rather than having one system for the course and then whatever system for support and sales, and then the free group over in Facebook, it's kind of all living in one place. It's incredibly cohesive and it's just more conducive for the community building experience and for the lead experience. It's simpler. And then, of course, once you click into a course, you get a great experience that just allows a digital coach and consultant to have a great free tool or a free product that kind of funnels people in through. Then on the back end, we have amazing things like course progress, quizzes and assessments, and assessment analytics, going back to what this would have looked like in the old days, to be able to have an assessment or have some kind of tracking or have some kind of more engaging interactive element to your free course. If you wanted any of that to be able to tie into marketing targeted messages based on course progress or something like that, think of all the zaps that you're building, right? That whole system that I showed you back here, these are all going back and forth and having to talk to one another through Zapier every single time you want to do anything remotely fancy. And of course, in the new way of doing things, this is all just going to be done through workflows. So assessment analytics, etc. So that's kind of a quick overview of the features and kind of the old way versus the new way, and what that actually looks like in practice is kind of just an overview of the same strategy. So we're not really changing the strategic approach here. We're just simplifying it and optimizing it with a better tool. So we can see my beautiful organic post screenshot on the left. Join my group link, heading over to, in this example, I just had a random example with join my free personal finance hacks group. You could have a VSL on here, whatever. This is a landing page managed through HighLevel, with a form managed through HighLevel, with automation tying into HighLevel. So it's all under one house. And then as soon as that form is submitted, we've got a group welcome automation, which is just going to automatically put someone in the group, send an email and an SMS to them in order to kind of welcome them in and take them down their first couple steps of the engagement path and ultimately the ascension path, right? Every time we add somebody into the free community, the whole point is that we're going to really stoke them out, build trust with them, and then likely try to sell them on something else where we're going to make all of our revenue. But again, this is all contained in a single high-level workflow, including the group access and the conversation, etc. So we're just kind of consolidating all those tools, right? And then, of course, strategies for promoting sales passively. This is a very boisterous example of, like, at the end of your free course, you would then have promotional content in terms of a what's next step, a way for them to get engaged in the sales process. If you've got a great free course, then at the end of that free course, a good pitch, then you're going to be promoting sales passively. As well as in that discussion area over on the right-hand side, a robust about section with links so you can promote sales in there. HighLevel just makes it really easy for you to be able to put the things that you want to put front and center. So if you want kind of anywhere someone goes, for them to be able to essentially like make it so that they can't miss it. That allows you to promote sales passively inside of the group as well as actively. You can obviously post things from then on. And then, of course, with regards to the marketing automation, this strategy works really well with other really popular strategies. And this is super contingent on you really being able to own the data, particularly with SMS and email, putting them into a blast, right? Or into a long-term drip. That's both to engage with your free course and make sure they're moving along and getting the most out of the free value you're providing, as well as opportunities for ascension, being able to sell whatever it is you're trying to sell based on the engagement with the free stuff. And this, again, doesn't include a ClickFunnels form zapped into Kajabi, but then also zapped into your CRM, where then you're in this other CRM having to manage all your marketing activities. It's all within HighLevel. So it allows you to categorize people based on assessment results, per se, or what kind of activities they've taken. Because all of that data is inside of HighLevel, we can do all sorts of fun things like custom value or custom fields for contacts that get filled in, and automations that can run without having to build a Zap to tie Kajabi to our CRM every single time we want to do something. So the sky's kind of the limit with that. And yeah, I'm happy to try to answer more questions or use case stuff there. But basically the value of having all of this stuff in one system, specifically for the courses and communities element, and the way it ties into other features is sort of like the main value proposition here. So people who are following this strategy are smart for doing so. And if you've never heard of this, the free course and community kind of front end lead magnet, you should consider it. It's a really, really powerful marketing tool that a lot of, especially online coaches, use in order to try to build their audience. And if you are familiar with this, then you should be understanding the obvious value that comes with doing all of it from inside of HighLevel. Okay, and then what do I got here? Yeah, so this is kind of another example of just being able to filter to people who are in a certain course, creating custom lists based on that. And then the last real point that I wanted to make about this is that we have been talking about this all in the context of a free course, which is a great sort of front end tool to build trust and spark engagement and get people kind of moving along in your sales process. But people also sell the community itself. So if you're just a course creator and maybe your free course is just the first 2 or 3 modules of your full course and you're kind of teasing it to them, you can also just make the community itself monetize. So if you have a paid product, paid coaching program, paid agency services that you also want to add in community elements into, which can be really helpful for clients to be able to practice their sales role playing or whatever common use cases. You can monetize the community itself and just have people pay into that. And that's super common. People will have their free group and then their paid group. Or if people are just straight up selling the paid course and community, you can get people straight into that and just manage the billing based on membership into the community, which comes with the courses and all the other benefits. So that was a mouthful, and I hope I didn't speed through that too fast. But like I said, I'm mostly interested in hearing from you guys. Hopefully that all made sense. If any of it didn't, and even if some of it did, I'd love to hear what are your questions about that, both with regards to the strategy of the kind of the course creators playbook, that strategy of putting stuff up at the front. How does that work? How does that convert? How does sales look like, etc. But then also from the tool perspective, how HighLevel is really truly the best tool to be able to achieve that for the way that it's so cohesive, brings everything under one roof. I'm a big believer in kind of HighLevel being the best specifically for that reason, because all of its features speak to one another with workflow automations that just make it super seamless, save you money on all the other tools you have to Frankenstein together, and honestly making it a much easier implementation process and maintenance process, right? Rather than talking to 3 or 4 different support channels or wondering what the heck you're going to do when something breaks and losing a week of your life trying to fix it. Usually even stuff doesn't break, and even if it does, you have a really, really streamlined process for resolving that with a support team who knows all of the features, can speak to them and usually get tickets resolved pretty quickly. So, yeah, I've got a question from Ryan. If you are new, how would you start a community if no one is there yet? Yeah, so starting totally from scratch is not necessarily the easiest, but it's certainly possible. We've got yeah, it's probably a good time to mention. We also have a full course on everything that I've just talked about. It's called the Course Creators Playbook. It's incredibly effective in helping actually walk you through the steps. So if you want a screen share where you're clicking the buttons alongside me, you can kind of get the much longer, slowed down button clicking implementation version of that. Honestly, this slide up here regards to Ryan's question is obviously tongue-in-cheek example, but a lot of coaches do this, and especially when they're getting their start, depending on the area of focus, depending on what it is that your course is going to be about. Presumably, you're an expert in a field and you're looking to start monetizing your knowledge and sharing that in order to grow an audience. So let's say you're I'll take a personal example. You're a chess expert, a chess grandmaster who wants to start building their online presence there. A lot of folks do at the beginning, especially if you're brand new, start with organic. So even though this example on my screen share is tongue in cheek, tactically speaking, strategically, this is absolutely what a lot of folks do. Just start by the organic stuff. Start by promoting yourself via the channels that you have. People post on Facebook or other socials. Try to get connected with people who are themselves well connected, and maybe try to infiltrate some other existing communities to partner with them and help grow your own. So if I'm a chess grandmaster, accomplished, reputable, and I build my free course, then I can start going to people who I know, or if I already have a couple of students from another practice, or if I'm in my local chess club, whatever, I can start promoting my group around there. There's all sorts of really good referral strategies. These are more deeply embedded in the course. We talk about how to promote your group, how to promote your new community strategically in there. And one of them is to, once you kind of have a core group of people who honestly kind of function as beta testers, helping you kind of break the group down and get your welcome strategy, which is really important. This is a side note, but at the top of your group experiences, like your welcome post and your welcome automation, you want to really dial those in, and the course shows you how to do that. I walk you through really good example of effective group welcome strategy. But once that's all kind of ironed out, then you can start trading content for referrals or interacting and engaging your group. Really, if you have a good group of core beta users, then a good engagement strategy is the best way, and maximizing the group experience is the best way. Just providing a really good group experience is how you grow the group from there. And then there's a couple kind of bribe strategies where you bribe your group members in order to help you grow it by having them share posts on your behalf. So now you're kind of extending the network and extending the reach of organic posts like this one on my screen share. So that's kind of an initial swing at it. There's obviously some element of, if you're new, how do you start a community if no one's there yet? That's how to start a new business, right? So that's a very deep question that people spend many months figuring out oftentimes, but it's certainly possible, and that's kind of a quick overview of some of these approaches I've seen. But if you want more information about how to grow and promote a group from scratch, that's going to be in the course creators playbook, which we can share a link to at the end of here at some point. All right, a couple more questions have come in. I'll start trying to rapid fire a little faster so we can keep up with it. How would I set this up for my GHL clients, and would I charge a one-time setup and then let them run it? It's from Paul. So I think what you're asking is let me know if I'm wrong, but the way I'm taking this question is your clients want to have their own communities set up, and you want to fulfill using HighLevel so that they can do everything that I explained in this presentation for themselves. I mean, ultimately billing is going to be up to you. That's fully up to your retention strategy and stuff like that. You could charge one time. You probably should be charging monthly. They're going to keep using your software. But essentially, yeah, you set up a sub account for them, build them however you like, and then they can go in that sub account, they can go integrate Stripe, set up their own groups, do everything that I described on here, take advantage of all these things, likely with your help if they need it. And then yeah, they basically can either do free or paid or both. This is everything that I went over in this presentation all exists in a single iteration of a sub account. So this isn't like an agency level. These are sub account features, just like conversations, just like websites, just like funnels. Every time you build a new sub account, you're building a completely new iteration of those features. So one client can have their chess course, like I said, and the next client can have their gardening course, right? So if your clients are themselves coaches and consultants, HighLevel provides a wonderful platform for them to be able to take advantage of this kind of value proposition, because there's still a lot of folks out there building online businesses with something akin to this model that we see on my screen, and they should be doing it the new way. All right, and Paul says yes and cool. Okay, let's head on down to Christy. Can you add the course creators playbook into my university, please? Uh, I don't know if we can add that directly into the university, but I know either
Yeah,
Ryan or
Ryan
Jake.
dropped the link where you can go claim it.
Oh, you did. Okay. Cool.
So anybody who doesn't see it in their university, just hit that link. It's in the chat. And we'll post it with the recording as well, and that'll add it into your university.
Oh, sweet. Thank you for that, Ryan. Yeah, so if you find Ryan's comment, you can click that link and get taken into that course. Okay, Kathy, how are you distinguishing the learning course versus the full course library versus the community price? I'm finding the micro courses are working to have an, okay, so it's kind of a long question. I'm kind of skimming through it here. Duplicate questions.
And if you want, we could save the questions to the end, Haplin, or do you feel like now's a good time to dig through them?
Now's a good time to dig through. I don't know if you noticed, Chase, but I made it through.
Oh, cool. You got, all right.
Facebook,
Awesome. I just
yeah,
wanted to
I've
make
been kind
sure.
of referencing slides as I've been answering questions as well, just for visual. But yeah, we're really here at this point. So,
Great.
but there's a ton of questions in here, which is what I like. So this will be good content for us. And Kathy, you're asking a great question. And it does speak to something that we've noticed, which is like we had courses and offers and a membership area for a while, and now there's this community thing, but there's still all the pricing features associated with selling just courses, just because they're holdovers from when that feature was the only when it was exclusive. The way that I would recommend doing it now, and I walk you through this step by step in the Course Creators Playbook. So Kathy specifically, highly recommend that you go over there. It's a pretty short course itself. It's really just meant to help you implement, and it answers questions exactly like this. Basically, I'd recommend building the community and setting up whatever kind of pricing. If it's a paid community, set up whatever pricing is associated with the community itself. Because the easiest thing of all, the way that communities tie to courses feature-wise in HighLevel is that when you go into that learning section, let me just click back up here really fast. This guy I was showing you, this is the learning section of communities. Because I'm in the admin view where I took this screenshot, you can see that block on the left just says add course. A member wouldn't see that. They would just see the sprint course or whatever else. But you can add just onesie, twosie as you like, any of the courses that you have from your courses area into the community area. And it just comes with the communities. And there's a couple interesting, more advanced things that you can do with that that we won't get into. And even more is coming in terms of unlocking stuff and gamification and things like that. But for now, the settings and communities is where I would recommend dealing with all the billing and just the access in general, and just deal with all of that stuff pertinent to your question in that area, the community setting. And then when it comes to courses, just add the courses to the community that you desire to have them linked up to. That's not the only way to do it, but it is probably the most simple way to get off the ground. And that's what I show you how to do in the Course Creators Playbook. Okay, Mark asks, what is trading content for referrals? This is a specific strategy that we used a lot when I was working for that prominent affiliate marketer. I was talking about this exact strategy, and I go more in depth on that in the Course Creators Playbook. So I'd also recommend to Mark getting your hands on that course and specifically heading over to the module titled Promote Your Community. That just shows you how to grow your community, not just organically with your own posts, but how to leverage your group's networks. So just to give you a quick 30-second overview, if I've got free content that I'm sitting on, value content, like good stuff, like I'm going to show you this new chess opening that's going to rock your world. And just to go back to my dumb chess example, I make a post in the community saying, well, let's go back. I make the post in Facebook saying if this post gets 50 retweets, then I'll be releasing this new video. Then I go in the group and I engage my group saying, hey folks, I've got new content that I want to get out there, but I want to make sure that you guys earn it. click this link below and retweet this to your own audience. And then if this post gets, as soon as this post gets 20 retweets or 20 reposts, then I'll share it. And so that was how that was like basically our organic content strategy became that. So rather than just putting stuff onto Facebook or putting stuff out into social media and then hoping that we get clicks, we'd actually have the first step of the teaser posts in the community, which would then cause the community to go blow up the post to their network. So now, 5 people in my group all post it, and so now it's being seen by everyone who is able to see their posts. And then as soon as it does get 20 reposts, you release the content into the group. And the post that they're promoting is, of course, just funneling more people in to join the group in order to get access to not just what's new, but what's already there as well. So that's a quick overview of trading content for referrals. We go more in depth in the course. All right. Charlie asks, is there an iOS app? I don't think there is yet an iOS app exclusively just for community access. Chase, I see your screen on.
But there will be, and it's very close. So the
Oh,
team is working on
okay.
that right now. It looks fantastic. And so you should definitely, that will roll out early Q2.
Oh,
And yeah. It's going to be great. And there'll be the option to actually white label that as well. So you'll be able to get your own branded version of that for an additional cost into the app stores for your community.
very nice. Yeah, it's kind of an obvious development, but in the meantime, what you can do is have people like save the URL to their home screen as a quick link sort of thing. It's a little bit of a workaround, but I've seen many a coach do that with other tools that did not have iOS apps. But of course, the app's going to be a big winner as
Yeah,
well.
we recently made a lot of updates to the mobile view. So if you haven't used communities on mobile recently, like there's been some significant improvements there.
Cool.
So it's not quite an app, but it's pretty darn close. And like Chase said, there will be an app that comes out for it that'll be super nice. Um, the other thing I was going to mention too, because I've got some experience in the coaching world as well. And this applies to a lot of different businesses, right? So when you're thinking through the strategy, like how do I apply this to my business? A lot of times, like the course is really good for a lot of things, but if people have questions or like maybe you didn't explain something very well in the course, that's where the community paired with that can make a lot of sense, especially when you're selling it. So you can say like, well, I don't just have a blanket statement, some general thing that I'm just going to give to you. I'm also going to give you the opportunity to interact with me, like as the leader of that group or of the creator of the course, who's an expert in a specific field or like, whatever it is you're selling or you do. And that way they feel like a lot closer tied into you instead of just saying like, well, you can join my Facebook group and like I'll chime in every once in a while. Like, no, you get to have like more intimate access to me and I can answer your questions. But the second benefit to that is that helps you refine your course moving forward. So if you haven't created a course yet, or maybe if you have one that you've done, maybe a while ago, you can use that feedback to improve the course and then specifically say like, hey, I just relaunched this module. You might want to jump into this group and check out this course because there are a lot of questions around X. And we specifically address that in this new module. And so you can build that feedback loop natively, like within the app, and you don't have to like send out surveys and do all this stuff. You can just have casual interactions within a group that you control.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's one, it's a huge missed opportunity typically when somebody just makes a free course and starts pushing it, but then operationally kind of forgets about it. Seen that happen, but weaving in course updates in is like a massive kind of organic strategy in and of itself. So, I mean, you're already trying to post something every other day if you're on your grind, but in the meantime, you've got people struggling to get through your free content or struggling to make the most out of it, et cetera, whatever. With communities, you're able to actually engage that group And then, like Ryan said, figure out kind of where there's room for improvement. And then as you respond to that feedback that's coming in live from posts in your community, reshoot your content or make it better, make addendums, add additional modules, whatever. And then you get to promote that, blow that up. It's not just more organic content at that point. It's just not the same as your normal post for the day. It's actually a huge trust builder. You get exponential momentum built off of it because the people who are there and are kind of aware of the narrative, they see, or if they're that person who gave you that feedback or one of the 10 or 20 people who did, and they see that you actually are present and responding to it, that connecting element is way, way, way more powerful for your sales process. If you're trying to sell high ticket or convert your audience into whatever, it's way more powerful that element than it is just another post, another content element. And then there was something else I was going to say about that. Yeah, which is adding this community element allows for you to answer questions publicly, for you to comment on posts, and for members to comment on each other's posts. And kind of an advanced strategy is to take somebody from your paid group or a cherished client, somebody who's kind of an all-star on your client roster, and you can either pay them or bribe them or incentivize them to become community moderators. So you kind of elevate some key community or just somebody who's really good at being helpful, who's bought into your process and what you're doing. You get that engagement element where they become moderators or they become leaders in the community. But in general, when a new person joins the group, rather than just getting access to the free PDF and then just reading it, and then you hope that it's valuable and that they want to buy something from you at the end, now they get to go to a place where not only is there just a ton more valuable, that the chances of their success and gaining value from your content is like 10,000 times higher in that setting, but they also get to see other people who are doing the same thing. Other people, if I just join your group and the first thing I do when I log in there is I see a post from Chase saying, this was the most amazing thing I've ever seen, or, whatever, singing your praises. There's a results section where you've got testimonials in there, etc. They're really, it's kind of, it's what we call indoctrination. It's the indoctrination process that is so much more valuable and effective in that setting because people see other community members who are also buying them, helps them feel really safe, helps them build trust with you exponentially faster than just by engaging with content alone, even a free course alone. Even if that free course is super duper valuable and helpful and it's worth $10 million, it's still not going to be as effective to a sales process as is the community element, seeing other people and knowing that they're not alone in this, or that there are people like them, being able to find community there. Okay, Chase, I see your screen on. Do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I was just going to add, I think that's one of the most magical parts about having a community is when people start helping each other and you don't have to do it, right? And so I think that happens a lot faster than people realize because we as humans have an innate urge to share what we know. And so when somebody sees somebody post in a community and they can help, they typically jump right on it. And now that gamification is built in, there's that reward as well. So I saw another comment about like, how do you run gamification? It often runs itself. Like people like to see their name going up the board. And so again, that's just another encouragement for them to continue contributing. And the other thing that I wanted to point out was I think it's good to always point out the metric, if you're putting content out into the world in social media, right? Like statistically, I don't know, less than 10% of your followers are actually going to see it. So for me, the goal is to get people into my own space, my own community, where they're going to see way more of my content. And like Kaplan has been talking about, it's a safer space that's about the one thing that I want to talk to them about. And so for me, I think communities are really the end goal. Is like, how do I get people off of social media into my community? I'm not going to stop posting in social media, but my goal is going to be to get them over here where we can have our own private conversation free of all the distractions of social media. So, very powerful. I think a lot of these comments illustrate a lot of the upside to getting a community going. And I think a lot of the fears around, there's not going to be many people in it, and are people going to really interact? Like, I think those kind of take care of themselves in a way once you get it going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. And something about that too. Oh, I don't want to lose my train of thought. You mentioned with gamification, Chase, with there's, I believe are we still working on the point system or did that get released already? Do you know?
So the initial stage is out, and I think I don't know, Ryan could probably answer better like how much control over you have it, but I know the team is working on workflow triggers and actions so that you'll be
Oh, sick.
able to wherever generate more points for people, which is going to be really exciting because I think again it bridges like other worlds into your community, and you could literally like webhooks could increase people's scores at that point.
Yeah.
Ryan, you want to talk about the current
Yeah,
state of it?
as it stands right now, I think this is a labs feature. So if you don't automatically see the leaderboard and gamification, go into settings and go to labs and switch it on. But the current iteration of it is 1 point for every like on a post or a comment. And so as users gain likes and comments or likes on posts and comments, that's how the score kind of increases. And there's about 9 levels and everything's kind of predefined right now. So this is like our skateboard model. We're going to get this out, like get it working really nice. And then you can also add rewards. So rewards are something that you can essentially say, like, if you get to this certain level, I'm going to give you X. And that could be anything. It's a free form thing right now. But in the future, we'll build in some more automation to that so that as things get fancier and you want to integrate more things, you can have points accumulate for different actions, not just liking on the post. But for now, it's all about engagement, getting people into the community, fine. But then there needs to be engagement, and that's where the gamification takes over. And it's kind of like Chase said, automatic right now, because they'll just start accumulating points as they get likes on posts and stuff.
Yeah, it's super. I'm glad that we're talking about that now because I mean, having a community where there's points for likes and stuff, that's already really powerful. People just like that. It's kind of wild how much people just like get into that, and there's just pride associated with getting points, and so it helps people engage just in and of itself. But also with what they're talking about with some of the features that are on their way, being able to have additional content that only unlocks after your level 3 or something like that, giving people incentive to engage. It speaks to the value of engagement, not just for the members, but for you. Like all of a sudden, you get such a more mature understanding of how actually providing value to your audience converts into sales for you, how that ties in together. And so the old way of just sending out a PDF and hoping for the best is nothing compared to the control that you have knowing that not just, oh, I have this content or I have this whatever, but I have this level of engagement. I have got 50 people who are all like, when you can track the number of posts you have in a day, the number of comments you have in a day, the amount of energy and quantify the amount of energy that your audience has in engaging with your stuff, that's super valuable insight. It's strategic insight for the direction of your business. So it's its own value. It's as valuable as money. And you'll notice as you get into that the way that you set up the game with all the different ways that HighLevel is coming out with, all the different controls you have to add points here, and then what points actually earn you. Maybe they get you on a free consulting call. Maybe they get you additional content. Maybe they get you a month of access to the premium thing. That it's all part of the Ascension model. So it plays really well with kind of what you want the sales process to be anyways, right? The sales process is already build trust, build commitment, and build asking until you're able to make a sale. And this just clarifies that process, ropes the lead into that process, and entertains and adds value to their journey along the way that justifies that trust and gives you better insight into how to create more of it. So we see people who do the gamification stuff well getting way more engagement, which leads to a lot more sales, and rightfully so, because they're building that trust. It's all justified. And then the other thing, like with what Chase was saying, getting people off of social media, you don't stop posting on social media. That's how you get new people, et cetera, like from the organic strategy that we go over in the course. But you can now post directly into your own community where you know everybody who logs in is going to see it. And then you also get to tie that to workflows. So that way, everyone that gets notified about your new posts, there's not just 10% of people who are going to see it, like he was saying. It's going to be an SMS and an email accompanying that, the link to that post, and getting people back into the group and engaging with it. So, yeah, super powerful stuff. I'm checking to see. I don't see any other questions in the chat, but I'm curious if that all makes sense to folks who are here live on the call. If there are other questions, I'm curious who thinks they're going to use courses and communities either for the first time or differently than they were before inside of HighLevel. If you're planning on taking a closer look at courses and communities after this and how they're going to play a role in your business, can you put like a 2 in the chat for me? I just want to see.
I'm throwing a 2 in the chat as well because we are super excited to start. I mean, we already have a bunch of communities, but at a certain point, you'll see us sort of roll those up into one master HighLevel community. And that day, I think, is rapidly approaching. So we're super excited to be using the communities just as much as you all are. And Haplin, I think, did a really great job of putting together this course. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely go claim it. So you can watch it in your university and refer back to it whenever you'd like. We are coming up on the hour, so if anybody has any last questions, fire away. I see a question over in Facebook. Is this only in SaaS mode? Nope. You can do this on any of the plans. And let's see. Are you able to customize the community area, white label it? Absolutely. So you can white label it, Jude, and we just released custom CSS and JavaScript. Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, that applies to communities as well, right? Like I know it's in courses.
Yeah, we just released it like yesterday. So custom JS, HTML, and CSS. So you can and one key little small feature that you may not notice is that there's a preview mode now for it too. So if you're a super developer or you have somebody that can help you, you can preview what that code does before you execute it.
Ooh, nice. That's nice. Joseph, private channels, they're being worked on right now. You should see those roll out early Q2, which begins in like next week, right? Charlie, Mighty Networks, I haven't heard anything about a migrator from Mighty Networks, but if we saw people voting it up on the ideas board, we would definitely build it. I mean, I know that we'll be building more migrators. I just don't know the order of what it'll be, and that'll really be determined by the votes on the ideas board. So rally the votes and that'll be the next one. Okay. Any other questions? All right, I see an awesome from Jude. I don't see any more questions on the restream side of things. So going once, going twice, I think we're good to wrap up, Haplin.
Sweet. Well, I want to thank you guys all for being here and for participating and for your questions. I'm a big believer in the whole online communities strategy, whether that's paid or free or both. I think everybody running an online business that is trying to grow an audience like should be invested in that, not just for your own sake, but for your audience's sake. It helps them develop, right? Helps them engage, helps them actually move along rather than just scrolling content all day. So I'm really excited to see more people using this feature. Please don't hesitate to give us feedback in the courses and communities playbook or in the course creators playbook that we've been hyping up. Hopefully every one of you gets into that. If you're looking to implement, that'd be your first step. Just walk through that course. And then at the end of that course, there's a little bit of feedback that you can give the team, give myself on that content, as well as just how you're using this feature and yeah, what you're going to do with it and how we can make it better. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for bearing with me, presenting to you guys. I hope that it was really valuable and can't wait to do it again.
And let's give Haplin a big round of applause for his very first official HighLevel webinar. If you do go watch the replay, please let us know how well you think he did in the comments. And as always, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for hanging out, everyone.
See ya.